Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. So, I don't know if y'all ever heard of this before, but I saw the trailer for it when they first really started advertising it a little bit, and I was excited but sad at the same time. So, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. So, just in case you don't know what it's about a blues singer that goes by the name Ma Rainey, who she is like kind of rising to fame, and it's all surrounding her and her band going to Chicago and recording a blues record. I gotta read this. I feel like I need to read this just in case y'all don't know, because I know, and it just made me sad when I first heard about it. Okay. Adapted from two-time Pulitzer Prize winner August Wilson's play, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Unbeknownst to his fellow cast members, Boseman was receiving treatment for that cancer while filming this movie. So, it released yesterday. I completely forgot. Otherwise, I would have done that right when I got off work. So I would have been resting now. But I'm sorry, I got to watch this and put this up today right now, because if I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do it. And I don't want to go up like Monday or later than that. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of heavy. So anyway, it is showing us that, since it's 1927, y'all know how it was in the South. They were in Georgia, in a part of Georgia that I've never heard of. I'm not sure if it's a real place in Georgia, because sometimes these plays and movies and TV shows make up places. Now, if it is a real place in Georgia, it doesn't surprise me. But anyway, it's some part of Georgia that I never heard of, where she apparently has her own juke joint type situation. People are lined up outside paying their money to come in and see her sing. She has a band, and they do amazingly well. Like, people live for her. So then they show the transition from her and her band being there to the hustle and bustle of Chicago. Now, back in those days, the way it was, especially if you were a black male, you were in the coal mines and all this other stuff. I know other places they did cars eventually, and they did, where was my uncle? Why can't I think of it? One of my uncles was at GM. He's now deceased. And why can't I think of the other one? What is wrong with me? I don't know why I can't think of the other one, y'all. My bad. But yeah, but what they showed in this movie was the men usually were doing stuff in the coal mines, and the women were usually seamstresses, packed together, looking like they're in a whole sweatshop. So yeah, that's usually what it was if you wasn't a maid and all this other stuff. So yeah. Anyway, so it looked like in the daytime, that's what Chadwick Boseman's character, Levy, would do. He is a horn player. Let's just say horn. I guess it's a trumpet. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comment section. He looks like he plays a trumpet. But it's a horn of some sort. So yeah. But yeah, in the nighttime, that's what he does. He's in a band. So everybody but Ma Rainey has shown up to this recording session. They're supposed to be at this recording studio to lay down some tracks. They have a list of songs that they want them to perform specifically to put on the tracks. They have the track list made up. They gave it to the band leader, this man who I'm assuming is the band leader, who goes by the name of Cutler. I don't know him, but he has done things later in life. He is not old, but he's older, and he started acting later in life. So yeah, so he might not really have that much out there. But anyway, he, is going back and forth with Chadwick Boseman's character, Levy, because he's the youngest one in the group. He think he know everything. He's on this high because he actually arranged some stuff. And there is apparently a song on the track list that they have to perform, and they specifically want his version of it because he arranged it, he did all this stuff. He has these dreams of actually having his own band and creating music and doing all these things on his own someday. And him and Glenn Turman, I don't know if y'all know him. He is the man who played Colonel Taylor on It's a Different World. He is one of Aretha Franklin's exes. And the last thing I saw him in actively working on a TV show was in How to Get Away with Murder alongside the person who's playing Ma Rainey, who is Viola Davis. I'm like, what is her name? Playing, she, of course, is playing the side chick, but his son, the man who's playing his son, is seeing her for most of the time, and she was the side chick. But anyway, we're gonna get into that. So anyway, they all go down and they are practicing, but Levy, he don't want to practice. He don't feel like he need to practice. He looking like, we could do all this stuff all the time, ain't no need to practice, we already know what we're gonna do. And this man who goes by Slow Drag, he's like, it is what it is. Let me go ahead and get my, tighten up my strings so I can play this song right for him, for Levy. And Cutler keeps going back and forth with Levy. And Toledo, who is Glenn Turman's character, they really keep going back and forth. I mean, they have been reading each other for filth. They've been reading down. He done sat up here and called that man a sharecropper. Now, in all honesty, I think because of his age, he really probably was a sharecropper and now does that full time. A lot of people, that's what they did. They did that before they moved up north to get away from sharecropping and all that, and just did what they was gonna do so they didn't have to be a sharecropper anymore. So he says that as a way to like throw a dig at him. And I'm just like, why you gotta say all that? They keep going back and forth, and it's crazy because Toledo seems as though he's very intelligent, even though he's older. So he's a wise older man, and he's trying to educate him because he's like, all black people need to go somewhere and sit down. They always trying to make it seem like everything's about partying and all this other stuff. More of us out here getting killed because we want to party and do all this other stuff. And so Levy looking at him like, man, shut up. You want to sit up here and play your music and chase women, for the lack of better terminology, because a whole lot of cussing and derogatory things have been said. But yeah, he was like, it is what it is, but I'm just saying, we all need to stick together so that some progress can be made. So yeah, they practicing and they sound really, really good. And so meanwhile, Ma Rainey and a man and a woman who are on each one of her arms are walking through town, and everybody in the town, whether they were black, white, indifferent, whatever, they all were staring at her because she sticks out like a sore thumb. She is a kind of big woman, and you can tell that she's not from there. She has this big old fur on. She probably put on her best of the best outfit and fur that she could, dig out of the closet and out of her chest, trunk, whatever you call it, and put it on to be seen. And everybody's looking at her like, girl, what is going on here? Like, you could tell she's not from there. So yeah, she politely go and walk through everybody and then go and get into this car. Hopefully she's being rushed over to the place to record because she's not there. So yeah, I'll be back. Y'all. Y'all, I have me some more tea. The most is going on. The most just happened in these last two scenes. So like I told y'all, it looks like Ma Rainey is being driven to the recording studio, and she was. So they see where it is, and they're about to miss their turn. An accident happens. And I don't know if her nephew hit the person or if the person hit her nephew. But Ma Rainey got out the car, set it all the way off. Everybody surrounded her people and all of that. And the man who lives for Ma Rainey just so happened to be outside of the studio paying somebody for food because he was going to feed the band and her. And he notices the ruckus is going on and trying to figure out what's going on. He sees her. He was like, oh no. He stopped everything he doing. He ain't paid the boy yet. He done ran out into the street trying to figure out what's going on. The police are there. The person who owns the other vehicle is going off. Apparently, she has possibly hit this man and knocked him to the ground. The police going off telling her she finna go to jail for assault and some more stuff. And she really done went all the way off. She was like, I ain't assault him. He bumped into me. He was on the ground. He started flailing around like somebody hurt him. Y'all, the most is going on. And so the guy was like, what's going on? What's going on? Y'all, to make a long story short, that man paid the police off to go on by their business because y'all already know it was going to be a scene. It was a whole 1927 being the year. You already know what was really finna go down. So yeah, he paid them off, and Mom then went inside the studio. She setting it up. She was like, why y'all always got it hot up in here? It don't make no sense to be hot up in here like this. Y'all know I'm trying to record. Why y'all got it hot up in here? Y'all need to fix that. So the man, like, he is really trying to cater to everything she is saying. He like, yeah, he is like, yeah, okay, Mom, I got you. I'm gonna fix it. Setting it off. And she done went off by her car. She was like, I need my car fixed right now. It's a brand new car. That's my car. I paid for that car. I'm talking about the police officer was like, well, we don't know if you own that car or not. We're going to have to investigate and look into that. So we don't even know if that's your car. Now, I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, she done got inside. She done set it off about the car. So she done took all her little stuff off and she's standing at the mic stand. This woman who was one of the people who was on her arm, she is standing at a mic stand. And like, she like swaying. She like swaying. All you see is hips and butt cheek in her dress, going back and forth. Ma Rainey is getting her entire life. You could really envision her doing a 1927 version of the Birdman rubbing up the hands at this point. Like, she was here for it. She done rolled all the way up on that girl and started caressing her and did all this from behind her. She was like, oh, you look so good in that dress. You wearing that dress. I'm going to take you to Tennessee or somewhere. She said she was going to take her to Mississippi before they go somewhere else because she was on tour. This is apparently what it is, y'all. She was on tour down in Georgia, and I guess she was doing the, why can't I think of the name of it? Y'all know what, the Chitlin circuit. That's what she was doing. And she was on tour. So they trying to do this and go back on tour. And so she was like, I'm going to take you here and I'm going to get you another dress. You look really, really good. So the girl, she know what it's hitting for. So she was like, I mean, I just really want some more shoes. I just want my feet to be comfortable because these are tight. And she was like, you can get whatever you want. It don't matter. Go ahead and get whatever you want. She was like, I know what it feels like for your feet to hurt. She sung her little song talking about how her feet hurt and all this other stuff, all while she was caressing her and doing the most. Then she ended up backing up for her and slapped her butt cheeks. And like, meanwhile, the person who was driving, that turns out to be her nephew. And he has like a speech impediment. Well, I don't know if it's a speech impediment or he stutters, whatever you want to say. He stutters. And he was sitting at the piano playing around, but he kind of was like ear hustling. And he could hear all the little things that was going on because I didn't know if he was one of her play toys or not, but that's a nephew. Hopefully she ain't doing nothing with him. That girl is definitely younger than her. So I'm just like, ma'am. Anyway, so she has brought the nephew with her because she wants him to do the intro to the song that Levy is so excited about that he did the arrangement for. Well, turns out Ma Rainey don't want to do that version. She wants to do the slow version. She says she ain't got time to sit up there and do that fast version. That man, I think his name is Irvin, he's trying to convince her to do this version because the crowd is gonna love it. They love it. You want to get this type of crowd. You want to get the crowd into it. You can get more people. And so she was like, you can't tell me how to run my business. You can't tell me what to do. I know what speaks to my soul. She done went all the way off. So she told him, you better get down there and tell them how it's gonna go. Tell Cutler, because like I said before, I think Cutler is the band leader. Tell them this is how it's gonna go. I don't want to hear nothing else. I run all of this. She done went all through the building, setting it off because she was like, look, go in there. And she done told the nephew to go to find them, to let them know that this is what the situation gonna be. She was like, you know what, matter of fact, I'll take you down there to him. And so she done went all the way off. So we're coming up on them rehearsing. So we gonna see how it go down. I think it's really finna go down. I think he's finna be real mad. I don't know, because I have not seen this. I don't know if he gonna get mad and leave and show her what she missing or what, but we gonna see. So Ma Rainey has taken her nephew down there to introduce them to the band and let them know how it's gonna go. Of course, this does not go over well with Levy. He is trying to plead his case. She done told him, I don't care what you gotta say, this is my song, it's gonna go the way I want it to go. My nephew is gonna do the intro and it's gonna be played the way I want it to be played. And when she left out of the room, he went off. He was like, this don't make no sense. Why would you want to do that? Don't even make no sense. Then went off. So the band leader, of course, is very, very happy because he feels as though he has proven his point. He's the band leader and he said what he said the first time and it's still going the way he thinks it's going to go, right? Well, he doesn't know what he's in for. So he is tasked with the job of telling the nephew what he has to say for the intro. Teach him this is what Ma told him to do. Ma Rainey told him to do this and he thought it was going to be a piece of cake. Well, he goes to repeat what he was told by Cutler and he starts to stutter. When I tell you the look that was on Levy's face, he was just like, yeah. Now, what were you saying? And y'all already know. He young. We find out he like 32 years old or something like that. He's in his 30s. This is what he's playing. Just a few years younger than what he was in real life. Maybe 5 to 10 years younger than what he was in real life. And y'all, he took a seat and when I tell y'all, everybody in the band was looking like, y'all, you could cut the tension with a knife. Everybody was done. And so Levy was like, Cutler, I want to see you fix that. Fix that. Show me how you can fix that. If you can fix that, I shine your shoes. You already know that is something that can't be fixed. And they trying to record this today, right now. He don't know how to do none of that. So I don't know how this gonna go down, but apparently it's gonna happen. So y'all, the guy who is over Irvin, who is, I guess he's like the main owner of the business, he done went down there. And at first, Levy was sitting down like, I ain't practicing. I might not, do nothing at all on this record. He was just sitting down watching the comedy show as far as what it was for him. And then he saw old boy coming down the steps. And so he hopped up with his horn and went over there. He was like, oh, good. Y'all practicing. And so he was like, yes, sir, we sure are practicing. Y'all, he went straight into slave and black people back in them days mode, the way you have to talk to white people in order for them to not feel like you think you better than them. Yes, sir, massa type situation. So he went into that mode, and as soon as, he left. Now, before he left, what happened was he was looking for this music that he said that he'd arranged. He was like, oh, yeah, I got the song. I finished it right here. I got it for you. You can look at it whenever you get time. Do whatever you're going to do. So when he leave out, everybody in the band reading him. It was like, just a few minutes ago, you said, I ain't playing nothing, I ain't gonna do nothing, I ain't practicing. And as soon as the white man come down these steps, all of a sudden you done hopped up and you yes sir, massa, and you got this big old grin on your face. You're smiling in the white man's face all of a sudden. And so he starts to get frustrated because people do not understand him. This whole time he has been saying within every conversation, you don't know me. You don't know what I done been through. Well, we find out what he's been through. To make a long story short, when he was 8 years old, a group of white men broke into their house, came into their house while his mama was cooking fried chicken. His daddy had gone, his daddy was gone for work or the situation happened. His daddy went away for whatever. And he told him that you're the man of the house. So he was like, okay, 8 years old, he can't do nothing. So all this is going down. They basically done raped the mama. His daddy, returned whenever he returned. He said his daddy acted like he understood what it was hidden for, what was going on, and acted like nothing happened. Then he went up to the white man, one of the people who he knew for a fact had something to do with raping his wife, because his wife actually told him the names of the men. And he sat up there and he sold them their land. So I'm looking like, wait a minute, what? So he was like, yeah, he went up into their face, he went right in their face, smiled in their face, said, yes, sir. And all of this, put on a show for them, smiled in their face, sold them their land, and turned out of the like 8, 9 people that came in and attacked his wife, he got to like half of them, 4 or 5 of them, killed them. And one day they ended up hunting him down into some woods and they ended up hanging him because they realized that he was the one going around killing them and all that. So yeah. But yeah, he was like, my daddy taught me how to do and be how I am when it come to white people. My daddy taught me how to deal with white people. So don't tell me how to deal with white people or what I'm not supposed to do. Y'all, during this whole situation, despite him being 8, he said he knew where his father kept his knife, and he said that he felt like whatever they was doing to his mama, they might as well be doing it to him too, because he didn't know what was going on. So something compelled him. I'm telling you, kids have this intuition. Just like I didn't know what was going on when I was being molested and when I was raped the first time when I was 9 years old and then 12 years old. I just knew that something wasn't right. I knew it couldn't have been what it was supposed to be. Like all kinds of alarms were going off in my head. Same thing happened with him. So he went, found the knife. He was going to try to do something, but the man grabbed the knife from him. One of the men grabbed the knife from him and ended up knocking him out the way, cut his chest with the knife. He has a scar to this day. His mama, after the whole situation went down, his chest opened. His mama wrapped him in a blanket, carried him like 2 miles up the street to the furlough place. Nobody could help him, said they can't get around to seeing him. She ended up taking him even further to somewhere, wherever this midwife was, and she ended up stitching him up or whatever. And so he was like, you can't tell me nothing. I know how to deal with white people. Y'all, he started crying and everything. I was like, oh my gosh. This is very, very heavy. So then they had a moment where they showed Toledo, who was Glenn Turman's character. He had a moment where he was talking about stew. He said, you have all these things, you know, everybody is from like tribes in Africa, right? And, you know, you take certain vegetables and all this stuff and you put it in a pot and you cook it real good until all the flavors come through and it makes a stew. So then you have like some carrots over here and then you have another vegetable over there, and what you got? Leftovers. You know what I'm saying? But you still got that big pot over there, but what you got? Leftovers. And he said that black men are leftovers. Black people are leftovers. And I was just like, wow, this is a lot. It's crazy. Like, he is so wise. And like the things that he says, it's like, wow. It reminds me of my daddy's mama, who was my last living grandparent before she passed away a couple of years ago. But yeah, it's crazy how he speaks. So the time has come when they are supposed to start recording. Ma Rainey is not trying to hear nothing that they talking about. The band leader that sat up there and pulled Irvin to the side and told him that her nephew can't do it because he stutters too bad. So they finna cut the record and she looking like, where the mic at? For my nephew. He need to do his intro. And so the dude that's over Irvin was like, what? What you talking about? She repeated herself and he was like, the boys say that he can't do the part. She was like, who is you talking about? Talking about the band. She was like, what band? Y'all, she done went all the way off. She was like, I don't know what y'all talking about. I run this show. Send a mic down here for my nephew. So that man politely ran down them steps with a mic, hooked it up in some more for her. But then he gonna try to add in there, okay, he gonna have to do it right on the first try because we ain't got no money for all this. This is very expensive to do this. She said, I don't care how expensive it is. I don't care how many takes it take for him to get it. He gonna do it until he get it right. Oh Lord, they done did the first take. Of course he started stuttering. And she like in the back, like turned away, like going with the music because the band is playing. So I'm like, girl, you know good and well, you hear all that stuttering. You know you hear it. You know he done messed it up. Come on now. So anyway, y'all, she done turned around and old boy was like, we ain't got time for this. She was like she interrupted him like, where's my Coke? Where's my Coca-Cola? And he was like, what, Mom? She was like, where's my Coca-Cola? You know I need a cold Coca-Cola. Where my cold Coca-Cola at? I ain't doing nothing until I get my cold Coca-Cola. You knew what this was. That went all the way off. Apparently, one of the things that she is supposed to have is a cold Coca-Cola before and or while she's singing. That man said, Mom, I forgot the Coca-Cola, but let's do this without the Coca-Cola. We'll get you Coca-Cola later or something. So she was like, no, see, I ain't got time. This heifer walked all the way off and went and sat down, turned on the fan, and started fanning herself. She was like, I ain't doing this. I knew I should have came down here for this foolishness. I should have stayed on my tour. Like, she is really going all the way off. She is tired of her spirit. So the dude, Irvin, he was like, Mom, can we just do the song and I'll, call the deli and I'll get a Coca-Cola sent over for you? She was like, no, I need my Coca-Cola now. You know I need my Coca-Cola. That went all the way off. She was like, y'all can wait till I get my Coca-Cola. So she reached down in her bosom and retrieved the coin purse and gave money to some of the people in the band and her nephew and told them to go down to the store and get her 3 ice cold Coca-Colas and whatever they want to get for themselves to keep the change. And so, like, they really trying to let her know, like, okay, we got to get this going, though. She was like, y'all can wait till I get my Coca-Cola. I ain't doing nothing till I get my Coca-Cola. So, old boy, who's over everything, mad, he done came and went and opened everything up because the mood is set. So, all this lighting and everything is in the room now. And, like, he mad, he stormed out. And, y'all, I forgot to tell y'all, before everything got started, earlier in this movie, they showed the girl who she is living for. She like be on the side just like dancing or whatever. I don't know if she actually sings too, but every time I've seen her, she just be, swaying or whatever. So they showed later on when they were about to start recording how they were just waiting around and then they were about to start. Oh boy, y'all already know. Levy over there staring at her and they looking at each other. And I'm like, Ma saw what was going down and was tired of her spirit. So she called Cutler over there and was like, Cutler, you better get him. He got his eyes on the wrong thing. You better tell him what he need to do. And he need to get his eyes fixated up on me. She went all of the way off. I was like, oh my gosh, please. So Cutler went over there and was like, all right, Levy, we got work to do. You need to focus on your work. And so I was like, oh my gosh, y'all, it is a mess. But yeah, she done sat down and she ain't finna do nothing until she get her Coca-Colas, honey. Child, Levy trying to get killed right about now. So, Mom wanted to talk to Cutler by himself while everybody else left the room. Because, if ain't nothing going on, because Mom don't want to sing, they just went on about their business doing what they do. So, she told Cutler, she was like, I want to talk to you for a minute because he was about to leave out too. So, ain't nobody in the room but Ma, Cutler, and Dussie Mae. That's the girl's name, Dussie. Dussie or something like that. Her name is Dussie. Dussie. But yeah, y'all. So, apparently this is all this heifer does. She just be... So, while Ma trying to talk to him, want to know why is everybody worried about what my nephew got going on. He gonna stutter as a part of life. It is what it is. This heifer over, she just waltzes over. And while everybody in the middle of talking, she just starts and just got her booty just going from side to side, swaying in the wind. Mom get distracted. She tired. She was like, Dusty, get somewhere and sit down. Get out the way. Just go somewhere. Anywhere but out of here. Just go anywhere that ain't in here, in my face. Or whatever. So she, politely sashayed away, picked up her stuff, and went walking down the hall. Well, she wandered into the room where Toledo and Levy were. Well, Toledo knew what time it was. He was about to get up and go. He was like, yep, I ain't got time for this, because Levy lived for her. So she was like, oh, I just came to see what this room looked like. That's all. So he was like, no, you ain't got to do all that. Why don't you stay to see what we got going on? And he, is trying to convince her that he has given his music to old boy and all this other stuff. And then trying to say, Toledo, didn't I give my music to him? He was like, Toledo ain't in it, and walked out the room. He ain't trying to get caught up. He already know what it's hidden for. He is like, I don't have time to get caught up in none of this foolishness. I need my job. I'm not finna be on the chopping block because you messing with Ma Rainey's girl. So he left out the room. So he really trying to tell her that, you know, I know what a woman wants and all this other stuff. She was like, oh, so you really can write music. Because she went over and she saw the paper and all this other stuff that he was, you know, singing from. And he was like, yeah, I really can do all this. So she was like, I need somebody who gonna, you know, come in and put it in my hand. I don't know what you, this heifer's a gold digger. This heifer is well kept. So y'all know he ain't got no money like that. He was like, I'm trying to tell you, I'm gonna be somebody. I know what to do. I'm gonna lavish you with all these gifts and whatever, whatever. So, you know, after all that talking, she went, sat down, and she gonna listen to what he got going on. So Ma Rainey is still talking to Cutler. So I'll be back. Y'all, Cutler had the audacity to bring up Bessie Smith to Ma Rainey. Ma Rainey went all the way. I was like, Bessie Smith? Don't talk to me about no Bessie Smith. I showed Bessie and taught Bessie everything she know. Don't be trying to tell me about what she got. Because, you know, Bessie Smith, she actually had a whole lot of stuff. She actually got more money coming in than what Ma Rainey does at this moment, I guess, from the way they talking. Done went all the way off about her. It was like, I know what I'm doing. I done sold more records. I done did this. I done did that. And then, like, she went all the way off. And she was like, I know my worth. These white people, I know I know that they don't care about me like that. I know they don't care. And that's why I am the way I am with them. That's why I demand what I demand. They want to sit up here and act like, oh, it's just too much to make sure you have my Coca-Cola. You don't have my Coca-Cola. She went all the way off. She was like, ain't nothing but a nickel a bottle. So old boy left out the room then. Like, he was up in the, like, engineering area. He just left all the way out. So now it's literally just her and Cutler in there. So they talking. And she was just like, they don't appreciate us. It's just like when they done with a whore, they just pull over, they just roll over and pull their pants up. They done. When they done with you, you just be out here like a dog in the alley. They don't care about you. I was like, woo, child. The accuracy of it all. But meanwhile, down the hall, Levy is pushing all the way up on Dusty May. He seems to be making a whole lot of headway. Some things start to go down. And, yeah. Because at first she was trying to talk all that trash. Like, oh, well, we'll see if I can let you do these things once you know, have your own band. Yeah, he went right after her, pulled her back in that room, closed the door, turned the lights off, went and carried her over to a piano, sat her on the piano keys, and went to town. So then they went back to the room and showed Ma and Cutler still in the room talking. So she was like, it sure is quiet in here now. I could never do that well when it's quiet. I always had music or something playing in my head. So she talking and all of that, y'all. I'll be back. Y'all, they ended up going through literally 6 or 7 records, because if you don't get it right the first time, you literally have to throw the record away. You have to throw it away. I was shocked that her nephew got it right before 10, 20 times. So, well, I tell y'all, everybody was shocked outside of Mom. It was to the point where everybody was just like, oh, okay, it ain't gonna go nowhere no time soon. They done turned around, started drinking out of their flasks and just doing anything. Then when he actually got through with it, finally, people turned around like, wait a minute, why you gotta start playing my instrument? I was like, no. But anyway, they completed the song, y'all. Oh my gosh, they were so happy. But the wire was messed up, so nothing got recorded. Oh my gosh, they were so mad. Mom was mad as I don't know what. Mom ended up storming out. Said, I ain't got time for this. I ain't got time for this. So old boy Irvin is apparently her manager. He been her manager for like 6, 7 years. And he ran after her, was like, please, oh my gosh, please, we need you to give me 15 minutes. All I'm asking you is for 15 minutes to straighten this out. And so she said, all right, you got 15 minutes. So he went and found another chord, because the cord had been chewed through, or they were actually trying to blame Levy, saying that he had knocked it loose or whatever. I don't know if it had been chewed through or not, so it wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, they went and got the cord. They actually recorded everything. Y'all, they done with a song or the whole record at this point. And then Levy and Ma get into it. And when it's all over, she starts complimenting everybody, talking about some slow drag. I don't know what you was doing, but I mean, she's setting it off with the compliments for everybody. And Slow Drag was like, look, I was just following Toledo. He was the one with them long fingers doing what he was doing on the piano. Like complimenting everybody. And then when she got to Levy, she gonna read him to my son. I don't know what you thought you was doing. You was doing the most because for every 10 notes you was playing, all you really had to play was one. Why was you doing all that? Why you doing all this extra work? That ain't make no sense. He was like, I played the song the way I felt it. I played the song the way I feel it, and that's why I played the way I played it. So then she was like, you supposed to play the song the way I tell you to play it. Man, they got into it. He was like, look, I don't care nothing about what you and Cutler got going on. You can fire me if you want to. Man, eventually, after he told her to leave him alone and all this, she was like, you fired. And so he stood there. He was like, you doing me a favor. I don't care. I'm going to get my own bed. Y'all, he done left out, stormed out. He went back to the room where they were at, and they actually have like a locker and all this other stuff. And so he put his trumpet back in its case. And throughout this whole movie, he kept going to this door that was in there because he said that that door has not always been there. So apparently that door appeared or was added on, and they were trying to convince him that that door has always been there. They were just in a different room. So he keeps trying to open the door like every time we saw him in the room. So he went in there. He gets frustrated. So he keeps trying to open the door. And I'm like, you're not going to open this door. Y'all, he got so frustrated. He finally was able to bum rush the door and open the door. And it basically led to nowhere. But it, you know, it did open and it was outside. So yeah, the most is going on. Y'all, so they finished everything up and it's time for them to be paid. They trying to get over on Ma, talk about, oh well, Mr. Studevant, or whatever his name is, the man that owns the record place. The place, where they're doing the productions and things at. Talking about, he said that, you know, he could take $25 out of your pay in order for your nephew to get paid. She done went off. She was like, no, he need to get his own money just like everybody else getting paid their own money. Apparently everybody but her getting paid $25 a piece for what they doing. She getting $200. So he was like, oh, well, I already talked to him. She done went all the way off. It's like, I don't care about all that. I said the boy need to have his own money. She done went all the way off. So then he went and told him what was said. He came in with her and kind of was like, hey, Ma, what seems to be the problem? I heard there was a problem. You supposed to get $200, right? And your nephew get $25. I'm like, oh, okay. Because she went off. She was like, if he don't make this right, let him know that I ain't never cut another record for him no more. So he came in there and gave her cash, gave her money and her nephew's money, and they left. So then they were trying to gather up the money for the men. Well, the band leader was like, can you get that to us in cash? And the reason behind that is because the last time they paid them with a check, he was like, look, anything but a check. Last time they paid them with a check, they had to go all over Chicago just to try to get it cash, because apparently when you see a black man with a whole lot of money, they don't believe that it's your money. Or a black person in general with a whole lot of money that's a check, they don't think it's yours. They think you stole it. Something ain't right about it. How dare you have money? So yeah, he ended up coming up with the money for them later on. So y'all already know that Levy stayed behind and he wanted to get his money because apparently he was there for the whole record. So he's trying to get his check too. Oh Lord, they talking. And then old boy come down there. And so he comes and pays them. So he was like, oh, y'all are in luck. Y'all said y'all wanted to be paid in cash. I had the cash and gave everybody their money. He tries to follow him. He closed the door. He put on his smile, his fake smile for the white man, as he likes to say. And he was like, what about my songs? You know the songs I gave you? You told me that I could record my songs. I got a nice band lined up that'll play them songs. He was like, oh, well, I'm not looking for anybody to play, you know, right now. Those don't fit anything right now. Nobody wants to hear that. So the best I could do for you is to give you $5 per song. And he was like, you told me that I could record. Now, he already talking about he'd had his band to play the songs, and apparently they ain't work out for him. And the way he was hearing it, it was not gonna work out. So he was like, "No, you ain't heard me play the songs. You had to hear me play them in order to know they fit. Everybody in the juke joints and all that, they'll love this song. They'll love my songs if you heard me play them." And y'all, he wasn't trying to hear it. It was to the point where he just gave him the money, just put the money in his breast pocket. Is that what it's called? I forgot what you call it. The pocket that's right here on the coat jacket and things. So he mad. He come back in the room mad as I don't know what. Well, Toledo and everybody else, they are walking around gathering up all this stuff so they can go on ahead and head back out. Well, Toledo accidentally steps on his shoe again. And he said, "I'm sorry," or something he said. And he was like, "Man, you stepped on my shoes again. What's wrong with you?" He was like, "I said, I'm sorry. I said, excuse me," or something he said. And like he kept on saying it over and over again. Man, he was not trying to hear that. He got so mad about that shoe. He took the shoe off. He tried to like polish it before he took the shoe off. Apparently, it might be dented all the way in. So he trying to wipe the shoe off. It ain't working. He was like, "You messed my shoes up, man. Just because you got them old raggedy shoes on, you think you can just do what you want to do with my shoes?" He done went off about these shoes to put them in his face. He was like, "What else you want me to do? I done said, I'm sorry. I said, excuse me." He was like, no, you gonna look at this. Look what you did to my shoes. And, you know, they said the N word all throughout this. Oh my gosh, y'all, it got so bad that Toledo, you know, he's still going on about his business, gathering everything up just like everybody else. This fool. I neglected to tell y'all that earlier in the episode, him and the band leader got into it so bad that he pulled a knife out on the band leader and was about to cut him. And he started saying, like, he told him that he's the devil and all this other stuff. And he tells him all the time that he's going to hell. And he was like, yeah. So, you know, I could already gather that he don't believe in God or nothing like that. So then he was like, you know what? I'm going to give your God a chance to save you. So he starts like going all around the room with the knife. And oh my gosh, y'all, he was like, I'm going to give your God a chance. He need to save you. Like he saved my mama. Which y'all know that didn't happen. So he in his feelings, he don't care nothing about religion. Because when his mama was raped and attacked and all this other stuff, he heard his mama say, God, please have mercy on me and all this other stuff. And God didn't do nothing. So he ain't here for it. Y'all, he had a whole meltdown. I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, we have come full circle and he done pulled out a knife. He done walked up on Toledo. He done walked up on Toledo and stabbed him in his back. I was like, what? Y'all don't understand. I was just like, for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes straight, I just could not believe he did this. He done killed this man over him stepping on his shoes. It is crazy because this happens in real life right now, today in 2020. Because somebody stepped on a shoe. Like, Lord, that ain't no reason to kill nobody. Lord have mercy, y'all. I was just so done. Slow Drag was so tired. He just turned around, took his hat off, and just was tired of his spirit. Like, everybody is done at this point. So, Mona went outside, and her manager is chasing behind her because when she left out, they was like, oh, well, when they tried her, she was like, yeah, good thing I forgot to sign the release forms or whatever the forms were or whatever. And so he chasing after her, you know, gonna have to get her signature in order for them to, you know, be able to start making some money off of spins and all that and sales. He was finally able to get her to sign it because at this point, she gonna do what she want to do. So yeah, that was so crazy, y'all. Woo, child. He sat up there. So back to Toledo and Levy. He done sat up here. He done stabbed this man in the back. He done died. And he was like, don't look at me like that. His eyes are wide open, just dead as I don't know what. He holding him. He done asked the band leader to come over and help him. He just standing over there like, I ain't helping nothing. Still in disbelief that this man just killed him. Like, I cannot. Y'all, they done did all this. That man has sat up there and lied to Levy to the point of where they show at the last part and the last scene the song that we actually saw Levy singing, which was one of the songs that he had written talking about a jelly roll or whatever. and had some random white band singing and playing, and I was just like, the fact that this is what actually was going on day in and day out, it is ridiculous. Anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed this recap review of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. This was really, really good. At the end, they actually dedicated this to him, meaning Chadwick Boseman, you know, because of his artistry and all that other stuff. I think that was awesome that they did that. Anyway, y'all have a good one, and I gotta go to bed. Good night. Bye.